be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. I be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. I be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. I be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. We been on that paper chasing on that fashion. We been on that paper chasing what you ration.
Been in the grind now. We ready for prime time. Ready for shine now. Be ready to get smile. On the rise, all eyes up on us now. Blast off spaceships till the touchdown.
Energy level on high, put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. Energy level on high, put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though.
We're getting ready to blow, but I didn't have my mic on, so it's hard to get ready to blow. I'm getting used to singing that all of a sudden. I'm sorry, I'm looking a little like I'm in the Matrix. It's funny. I was just watching the Matrix with my 8-year-old, and I don't know if that's responsible parenting. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't get to any of the shooting. We didn't get to that part yet, but we were actually watching the Matrix, and I'm gonna have to ask my good partner Fly if he thinks that's good parenting, because he's got a whole bunch of them to put through the test market, and I don't. I got one that I got to get it right, and I'm losing my soundproofing. Things are array. Strange things are afoot at Circle K. You know what I mean? Let's see who picks up on that one, because some of y'all are young whippersnappers. Speaking of young whippersnappers, what's going on, sir?
Yo.
What it is?
What's up, family?
What it is, man? Yeah, I see Fly. Normally we're Quo's sitting, and so it's like the pro Fly show tonight.
Right? We of course everybody's pro Fly, right?
That's right. Who's not pro Fly?
Yes, indeed, man. Of course,
you are so crispy, and I'm in this quasi fog. Like I'm dealing with it. Though. I'm dealing with it. I'm in a quasi fog. So.
I think but it kind of has a Matrix vibe to it.
It really does. It's and the way I'm hearing myself, I don't know if you are too. I'm beginning to think the Matrix really is real. What do y'all think? Let me know. What up, Tree? Let us know. Is the Matrix really real? And are you pumped that a new Matrix is coming out? Really, that's what we got to really discuss.
Well, you know how we talked about this last week, man.
We did.
I'm ecstatic. I cannot wait. So believe it or not, my wife's gonna kill me for saying this, but like, I'm a movie buff, right? I guess I can't say that because I don't like watching the same movie more than once. But like, I'm an avid movie watcher. Like, I look forward to watching movies more than I even like watching TV. I watch a good movie before I just watch TV. And so down through the years, I've kind of like, watched most of the good stuff. And so, of course, my wife was tuned in last week, and she's laying in the bed the next day, and she's like, guess what? Because I'm like stoked, I'm like talking about Matrix and all that. She said, I never seen the Matrix. And I'm like, what?
You didn't know that, and you got married to her anyways?
You know what I'm saying, bro? That's questionable. That's a red flag right there, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. I missed something somewhere. She did not, or she hadn't watched the Matrix, but that happens to a lot of the more masculine, I guess, if I could use that term, movies. She was more into like chick flicks and stuff like that coming up, so she missed a lot of stuff like Scarface. I'm just throwing it out there. I think that's one of the other movies she mentioned that she hadn't really got into. So I get it. It's not.
Yeah, I mean these are like, we have these fake lists that I mean they're not fake. We have these lists and we think we want the perfect woman before we get married, and we got all these things on the list, and women do too. And you know what I mean? We're a little stereotypical sometimes. I understand, but on my list personally, like on my list, my wife checked off like 9 of the 10 boxes, but I knew going into it. But I knew going in that this was the box she did not check off. So we have very separate television movie tastes. We got a couple of things in common. And for the most part, yeah, she's watching The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. And I'm not going to front. I've watched several episodes because of, there is no middle ground. She refuses. She's like, yeah, you go watch The Matrix and do it. You go watch that Marvel Captain America stuff. We watched Tom Brady together. You know what I'm saying? We watched Tom Brady together. And notice how I did not say the Pats, but we did watch some Pats. But it's a little more difficult for me being out here now instead of being right in the bean anymore. So so I'm watching on the delayed app, and you may have seen this. I brought this up like last week. I was talking about it on my profile. Facebook profile, which a lot of people, hello to everybody watching us on Facebook, or who will be watching us on Facebook tomorrow, because it's amazing how the views go up the next day. I get it. It's a little late for some people, but anyways, I was talking on my profile, Fly, and I said, I hit someone up, and it spilled into this whole long conversation because this person who I know from back in Lowell, he posted, he's like, oh, I can't believe the Pats blew that by 1 point. And I'm like, bruh, I mean, you said it like 6 o'clock on a Sunday, you know what I mean? And he don't know my reality is that I'm watching it on slight delay because they make you can't watch it in real time because I don't have the super good service, I guess. I have the one you got to watch it when they let you watch it, which is like a couple hours after. Especially when it's streamed. Is it that much delayed? Sometimes it's right immediately after it, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like, I'm just like that. I stay away from the TV, I'm like that. My wife makes fun of me about that too. Like, I can't know the score. I will not watch it, so at all. I had the whole routine down, when I was in Cambridge, the sub shop that was on the corner where I remember you telling me about the whole Boston thing. Yeah. I'd go get the veggie sub and they would have the whole thing arranged for like when I'd walk in, it'd be like, oh, here comes Lyrical. Like, let's change the channel, Yeah. And they started out, there was a joke when they realized I was like that. It went like this: the sub shop, house on the corner, I'm the house behind it. So it was like literally my backyard was like their sub shop. So I was like always in there getting them veggie subs. And by the way, if you haven't done a veggie sub and you're not vegetarian, I'm telling you, you might want to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Hot peppers, pickles, you gotta put some things on there, some mustard to make up for it. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm saying I had to just arrange my whole day because it would just ruin I'd be recording the games, the Celtics games, watch like every game this way, And it's what happens when you're in the basement writing rhymes. I know, man. Hey, speaking of in the basement writing rhymes. Yes, sir. So who's gonna start back up Tigger in the Basement, man? We got to do something. That was one of my favorite shows. Do you think we're answering the call? We have to be the solution. There's a generation gap where people are missing that part of the art. It was kind of like the perfect place where everybody felt safe. You know what I'm saying? It was like the Cheers of hip hop. You know what I mean? It was like Taking the Basement, man. That's what it was. You know what I'm saying? Where who's anybody, man. You got to see him outside of that normal element of writing a song. And they just really, most of them probably, went prepared, which, I always suggest. But then it also was the opportunity, man, for the freestyle and all that. And it just was dope, man. My wife actually gave me this idea. She was like, I really miss Tigger in the Basement. As I mentioned last week, she's real heavy into music and, really involved in my music as well. Yeah. And so she gave me the idea of just like, we got to start something like that. And that's kind of why, part of the reason, not why, but I'm thinking about a spinoff on Fly Style Fridays. Okay. I'm trying to move it into it and adding some other additional MCs and just kind of bringing in their part. Thinking do it kind of like virtually. Anyway, it's just still in the concept stage, but definitely got to have the legendary Pro Lyrical man on
Come on, man. On
That's
fly
automatic.
on the roof, fry on the rooftop. We ain't gonna be in the
Fly the roof-
basement.
Yeah, that's automatic. Yeah, Gary, we're still on YouTube, man. We still on YouTube. It's one of the YouTube streams, the Hip Hop Citizen one, for whatever reason is not updated. We on our YouTube, which is the if you go to tinyurl.com/the Pro Quo Show, should be functioning there. I was looking at it earlier, but yeah, it was giving me some problems with the Hip Hop Citizen one. But we are on hiphopcitizen.com through Facebook, the Hip Hop Citizen other page, the Quo page, the Pro Lyrical page, yeah, all that kind of stuff. So my LinkedIn, blah blah blah. Sorry, taking it. But yeah, man, I'm with it, man. I'm with it. Yo, we got speaking of rhymes and so forth. Yo, we got a guest coming on tonight, just a little bit. We're gonna talk with Russ, man. And if y'all didn't see the little flyer, if you didn't see what Russ is about, you're about to find out very soon. So he is all about well, we're gonna talk about mental health. We're gonna talk about a little bit of how poetry can actually be therapeutic, right? And
Yeah.
absolutely. And we know that firsthand as MCs, but especially on the spoken word tip. And you know, he's really heavy invested in the spoken word scene as a fan as well, just checking out shows and music and so forth, and very interested to see how that works into his practice. He's an MD, and so be very interested to see his take on things. So I can't wait to chop it up with Russ Livingston, and we may have a guest or two come in, do some spoken word. If not, we'll get some fly. I mean, we'll get some fly in there. We might get some pro in there, and we'll mix it up. So I'm excited about that. So we're gonna have him up in just a few minutes. What else is new in your week, sir? What's been going on? By the way, I just want to point out, though you look crispy, I gotta come with an insult too. You do look like you're behind the yard. You know what I mean? Like you look.
That's
like
my prison. Look, man, I've been in jail. I've been in jail all week, man.
Yeah, man. It looks like you're in the cell right now, and like you got like on your bed, you got your notebook over there.
I'm telling you, man. That's how I feel, man.
All right, cool.
That's my rhyme book.
I just wanted to point it out and make sure if that's what you're going for, you've achieved it. But see that picture that's right there. If you can move that picture on the wall slightly out of the picture, there. Oh no.
Look at that though. Look at that though.
You're not.
Look at that though. Look at that though. That's my wife and I. I think that's an anniversary picture.
We gotta make
our wedding picture.
Hold on, let's solo you.
That's us. That's us on our. So we got ready to make flyers for our wedding. That's our picture, man. This is like almost 15 years old, and then that's us in the anniversary pic, man. Like then and now.
When do you get out so you can go back and visit the family?
So yeah, man, hard times in here. You feel me? Hard times in here, man. So I had to keep pictures of her on the wall, man.
You got the custom paint though. I can see it now. You got the paint though.
My wife did. My wife did that from scratch.
See, from when it's far back, I couldn't tell. Now it's like sold, and I'm like, oh, they got the smooth paint going. So that is no cell that I know.
I'm in D block B.
You're in F block.
Yeah, I'm in the F block, man.
Yeah, man.
But, bro. You mentioned something.
Hey, I got soundproof falling off the wall. So I see. I don't know. I see. I refuse to buy the stuff that actually like completely covers wall and you just touch it up there and it's whatever. So I got 1,000 of those things from like Michaels, the little sticky things with those guys. You get them at Home Depot. I got drawers and drawers of them, and that's really not the move. It really isn't, but it's what I'm going with.
It is what it is, man. It's about the effectiveness, man. If it works, it works. You feel me?
It's working. Right.
That's it.
Otherwise, things good.
Otherwise, man, everything's going well, man. Of course, working on finalizing some projects that I've been working on.
You're always working on something.
That's really the truth, bro. But I don't know if that's a good thing, though. I always got a lot of things going on at one time, man. But I keep my priorities straight too. That because I always focus and have such a tunnel vision when it comes to priorities, that I actually need those distractions. As far as like, especially musically, I need those distractions, man, to be able to branch off and write or go to the studio and stuff like that. Of course, about my early morning routine, getting up early. Yeah, man, I'll get up at 6:15. I don't need to be at work at 8. I'll sit in the parking lot for an hour and just, bro, I got to do it.
That's
I
like
have to
the
do it.
car for me is like is the revolving floating studio. You know, it's I spend people complain all the time like, oh, I can't stand the traffic. You know how many rhymes I've written in traffic? You know what I'm saying?
Because of the traffic, it was
Oh my
like a
gosh,
blessing in
it's like
disguise.
yeah, I'm like dun, 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 I'm zoning out. I'm doing my thing. Yeah, the car, man. Cars. I mean, train, bus, like any way that the train is really ideal. You know what I mean? Because it's like, but I'll have to go from like if I go to like campus, we got multiple campuses, and I might have to bounce out. I'm like, I really kind of need the car on those days because it's a little tricky without. But
Yeah,
otherwise, train is ideal. You know, get
that's what's
major
up.
things done on the train. But yeah,
I'm a
well,
little jealous. I'm a little jealous, man. We don't have a train system where I am. I grew up in a big city initially, of course, being from
Chicago
Chicago.
certainly has a train. Yeah,
Yeah, man. And
I've
then
been on that train.
the train system is non-existent, and even just the public transportation in general is just not that good. But I'm jealous, man. I would like to be somewhere where if I could walk or ride a bike, that would be great. If I could jump on a train, I probably would use. I'm a little iffy about my time. I value time a whole lot, so I don't like wasted time. But if it's something that I could dedicate to, like maybe a process like writing or something like that, it'd definitely be worth it. Train
Yeah, I
ride.
mean, there's some people doing the bike things like where I am, and they probably shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're like, I mean, we got pretty decent areas around, but it's not really like that. You know, it's like
Yeah,
it's urban space that they're trying to make more conducive to those kind of things, and it's not quite conducive yet. But
yeah.
certainly wasn't the case in Cambridge, man. I'll tell you, Cambridge is like if you ain't been to Cambridge, it's like the bike riding capital of the world. Well, maybe I should
Really.
say America, anyways. Yeah, it's definitely it's not like Amsterdam or something like that, but it's dude, people got bikes. People there's more rights for people walking and on bikes in Cambridge than just about anything. I mean, it's
Just
like
about anything, huh?
Harvard, MIT, and pedestrians on bikes. And the thing is with pedestrians, is it like I'm so irritated. Like is a crosswalk, right? And so you got a crosswalk. If you think about what a crosswalk really is, it's essentially a bullseye that says to you as a walker, right, that this is the area you need help on getting across the road. So you should just get out of yourself and get across quickly and efficiently, right? Not thinking like, oh, I got a force field of a bubble around me. It's like, come on, bro, you might die. You know what I'm saying? Like, get across that street, yo. It's the style. I'm just like, run. And when I was little, I mean, when you had a bike, you were on the sidewalk. You know what I mean? Like you were on a bike.
Right.
There was no helmets, of course, right? And now it's like, I mean, I don't want to sound like that, the old dude being like, blah, blah, blah. But I've been like that since I was like 17. I'm like, get out of the street. What are you doing? You're going to get hit, you know?
Right.
So I just don't
I
understand.
feel you on that. I feel you on that. I really don't even.
The city came in though, bro. They came in and they said, this is the area that is lethal. We need to help you with paint to get you across.
To make sure you can get across.
Be like, get across, you might catch a case, one you don't want to catch. But
I know.
I
feel you on that. And you brought up something too. I know we got a guest coming. I wanted to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Get your intake on therapy. How do you feel about therapy? From two perspectives. Number one, more importantly, just from a male perspective, I know we struggle with pride and being able to open up and being vulnerable and stuff like that. So definitely want to get your input on that. I can tell you, growing up, especially being in a certain demographic in the African American culture, like therapy was almost treated like witchcraft. Like it's just You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm serious. I'm serious. And of course,
I hear you.
I don't
that was just
speak for the entire race of people.
What you got against witchcraft?
From my experience with the people in my demographic and my peers and people that I've talked to about therapy, it was just like it was always shunned upon, and so even especially in the religious world too, which is something I spend a lot of time involved in too. Just like so people treat therapy like it's voodoo, man, like it's witchcraft, man, and so they're scared of it and they think that it's wasteful. I think the fact that it may be a little expensive may be a deterrent, which that's a totally different thing than just completely, shunning it. So I'm just interested, man, on what's your input about therapy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very similar for me growing up. I mean, therapy was something the people that were messed up did, and it was like, man, I don't need no therapy. What are you talking
Right.
about? First thing my wife did when she met me, she's like, man, you need some therapy. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, that's for those people over there,
Right.
No, same thing. The hyper masculine youth growing up, just the way it's presented in our culture, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I've definitely turned 360 on that. I mean, I realize my childish ways, but I will say that I strongly do believe in what I started off show talking about is that sort of hip hop is therapy and writing,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely at a point in my place where my pen is definitely reserved for that. So shout out to AB Money. But what up, AB? Yes, sir. But nah, I mean, for real, it's like until you have like it's unfortunate for me. It was like until you have a queen who's the one who can put away your childish ways and kind of step to you and be like, look, you just, my wife is a black woman, you know what I mean, and she's not too proud to be like, you might need to take yourself some therapy, you know what I'm saying, and
Right.
we all have a lot of unresolved issues that we bury away, put away, and if you don't have the pen thing to do it, that's just one more notch against you. I'm not trying to say that the pen is all you need, right? Or but we need some kinds of outlets. We need people to listen to us. We started this show really as a sort of way of therapy because we were kind of, and Quo still is doing that downtime for the same kind of reasons. We're talking about this stuff can be overwhelming. Our career, the rat race, that we're running, social media, the whole thing, and it's when you got lives, families, shout out to Quo again, and like he's newly married too. He's got, you know what I mean. So it's like you're trying to figure out that sweet spot of like how much time you can dedicate to certain things, and we don't really communicate those things with others. We can build up this whole idea of like what we think we're doing for sometimes for the right reasons we think, and it's maybe the wrong reasons, and we're assuming what the other person thinks. And I've definitely been guilty of that, and I still am. We've been married now 11 years, and I am not. There's no two ways around it. I am not the perfect person to have to be hitched up with. I have some strong qualities that look real good at cocktail parties, right? That sound real nice, like, you know what I mean? But in the reality of it, I can be obsessive compulsive. I can be very ADHD-ish. I can be very quiet, standoffish. We've talked about all this stuff. So I'm more cognizant of it now. So now I know kind of like what to work on. So I think it's a benefit. So yeah, I'm all for it. If I could get free therapy around the clock, hey, come on over. If you can come over to my house, Russ, maybe you tell me that. Do they have that? You just come over, it's like always office hours on the chair. It's like, can you come over to my chair? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, really, man.
I don't know if that's a thing. I'm assuming it is, especially in COVID, it might be a little weird, but
wouldn't that improve the effectiveness of therapy if the whole concept is to make a person comfortable? And if you get them in their comfort zone, maybe people may be more.
We don't want to make the therapist quit though, but
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. A therapist probably got tough skin, I would imagine, before you indulge in such a profession that you may have thought about the stuff you may hear, or how people will react or respond to the therapy. But
absolutely.
I'm with you on that. I have definitely had some unresolved issues in my life. Believe it or not, bro. And this is why, like we were talking about last week, why I've leaned heavily, on the faith concept approach to creation, because of the impact it's had on me as a person. It literally helped me transform my life into coming out of the streets, wanting my whole life to be about gang banging, carrying pistols, selling drugs. Whatever I saw, that's what my concept. I was completely flagrant in every aspect of life. Was super intelligent, but skipped school, hung out all night, wouldn't go home at 12, 13 years old, was promiscuous at a very young age. Was getting high, getting drunk, sneaking in the clubs before I was 14. I mean, anything you could think of.
All the good stuff.
I was all the good bad stuff. And I got in church and it literally like helped me transform my life. It helped me to see my flaws and helped me to adjust. It taught me how to appreciate a woman, me and my wife. Before that, I was, man, extremely self-centered and all about myself and just self-absorbed. I was super arrogant, and it's amazing what just the knowledge or just the cognition that it takes to improve yourself as a person.
Yeah,
That don't
if
just
you don't
happen
know,
on-
you don't know.
Yeah,
If you
no.
don't know, you don't know.
and it
until
ain't
you
gonna just
have
happen on its own.
you have to have some system, some outlet, and then it's just once you're aware, it's I mean, it's probably more than half the battle, but it's and it's kind of like going to the gym too. You see people, like, I'm the same way with people going to the gym. I don't want to get too carried away, but we got to get him in here, but to really get someone who knows a little bit more than us talking about this. But the you see people with their pencil and they're writing down their sets and their reps and all this stuff. And I'm always like, man, what do you need to write that down for? Like, you don't know what you like. I'm always thinking about like what I did in the gym or whatever. But then
Right.
like, I'll get home and they'll be like, what did I actually do? What was that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, you were quick to say it out, but it's like, yeah, that pencil and that pen, even just to reflect on what it is that you're doing. I'm not trying to equate that with therapy, but just the process of having a process, right?
Right.
And for that self-betterment too. I mean, it can't be understated as well. So it's I want to actually give a shout out to speaking of all the, I know we're talking a little bit more about therapy than we may have thought we were going to, but shout out to Tiffany Werner. She's a news personality and a licensed therapist and host of a live radio show. It's called Moments of Clarity with Tiffany, and I think we're going to be a guest on that coming up too. So I wanted to shout her out. Her show is crazy. She does a crazy popular podcast, and we should have probably called her to come on tonight. But without any further ado, Quo, I called you Quo. Isn't that cool? I called you Quo.
I'm official.
Fly Quo. I'm gonna call you Fly Quo. Okay, no, I can't. I that's too funny. That's too funny. Without any further ado, Fly One. I think we should bring in Russ. But I am going to ask you, do you want to try to see if you can possibly make the knock work? Because Quo is not great at the knock. Like, the knock is what gets the guest in. And normally when you just hit the screen, it sometimes works. It's like, let's see if you can do it right.
Let's see.
Oh, hey, whoa, it worked. Oh, there's some kind of effect in my voice. Russ Livingston.
Hey guys,
What's up, Doc?
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm wondering if you're if you're repping the Celts just to make me feel at home here.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Please
No,
don't get him started on the Celtics, please.
Oh, is it? All right, we can do another thing on that.
He really means it. He really means
I'm repping Wentworth.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's I think I was thinking about that when I was walking up here. I was like, did I have that shirt on last week?
Mm.
And it's not like having the same shirt on yesterday because it is a week. That can happen. But still trying to think about these things. That's what we do.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm already pro fly. So
you're already what?
I'm already pro fly.
Oh, all right.
So,
there it is.
Unintended.
There it is.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
There we go.
No, that was us playing. We wanted you to have some shine there. Sorry.
Oh, thank you very much. I need all the shine I can get, except for the dome is pretty shiny.
Yeah, we'll give you some more. Bang, Russ Livingston, and then we're gonna put it on you. Bam.
There you go.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. I would actually prefer to see you guys make it a conversation. So
absolutely. We prefer the opposite usually. So, but we'll get you back there.
Honestly, I do best in conversations. So thank you.
I was trying to figure out like if we could flip you over to where I am and make the Russ Livingston go like right because I look like Russ Livingston right now. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Nope, I'm still Russ Livingston.
You're still Russ.
Well, that's better. That's better.
Okay.
Let's take the Pro Quo banner off the top too. Russ, do you want to help us produce the show?
I'm down.
All right, you're doing a good job so far.
Well, listen, I did want to pick up on something you said, Fly, right at the beginning, which is that you're thinking about starting a show where you're inviting hip hop artists in, and then you said it's a works in progress, and then you went on to say you have a lot of things on your plate, and actually that's kind of where I am, and that's I think where the conversation started with Professor Lyrical, And thank you very much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming.
I'm also working on something. I've got a debut of a spoken word residency coming up
Yes.
in Boston.
Tell the
And
people what it
I
is.
sure
yes,
will.
sir.
So that's October 3rd, starting from 3 to 7. And the concept is narration is liberation. And what I'd like to do is spend a little minute talking to you about that. And then I'm happy to roll with any of the conversation about mental health and spoken word and so on that you like.
Indulge us, please.
Yeah. So, I'm 60 and I have been thinking about, all right, I've done some things to, put my shoulder to the cause, to, making the world and the species look a little more like I think we all hope we can look, which is what?
Yeah.
More civil, which is addressing oppression, which is addressing isms, which is, working at the most wounded places if we really want to understand what it is to be human. So I've been thinking about all that, and I get to do some of that in my work, person to person. I work with families, couples, kids, systems. Like I think about how to improve systems of care. But I also felt like, what else can I do? And this landed on me essentially. So narration is liberation is the concept that if you give the mic to the aspects of self or community or, global society, if you give the mic to those aspects that have been silenced, have never found their voice, that it makes an arc that tends towards liberation. If we narrate experience, we tend towards liberation, especially the voices that don't typically,
get to be heard.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir here.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Preach away.
And so all I'm trying to do with this residency is to make a little intentional group of people who are thinking together and talking together over time about what it looks like to go deeper into that concept about, all right, let me, find the places in me that are, inadequately voiced. Let me speak to those parts of community, or speak from those parts of community. Let me make an effort to make space for those folks who think they can't speak to deepen their narrative.
Absolutely.
With the idea being that honestly, I know it sounds whack, but I could make the line from what I'm saying to where I'm going, but I'll do the leap. I actually think that improves the chances of survival of species. All right, I'll do the link real quick.
Nothing whack about that. I actually, right
At
before you do,
all.
I wanted to put that up there too, in case people didn't know what we're talking about. So that was the flyer for tonight's show. If you missed it, we're talking mental health, spoken word poetry, music, and narration is liberation. A new spoken word residency in Boston, Mass. And
come through.
Yeah, and I'm gonna call you Dr. Russ right now. I know you don't like
That's
that.
fine.
We got Dr. Russ in the place, and he's telling us about it. Russ Livingston, MD.
And if any of you are interested in coming to that residency, or you're interested in the live stream, because we'll be live streaming it, go to narrationisliberation.com.
All right, I'm gonna put that up there.
I've never put on a website before, but there you go. It's narrationisliberation.com. Give me your email. I'll hook you up. So, and actually I want to give a shout out to Asia LeKay Grady, who, having heard about this concept, said, let me do whatever I can do to help. And she's actually responsible for all of the organization. I'm like, that is not my strong suit. Period.
Yeah, that's a whole other grind.
It's true. So the link between the two concepts is this. In my view, in order to continue to live in like an oppressive place, like to be oppressors, in order to turn our backs on all of the misery that comes from racism, sexism, ageism, we have to dissociate. We have to like not be mindful. We have to not critically think, because if you stop and you think, it becomes obvious.
Yeah, our life becomes like, oh my gosh, the world sucks. And yeah, like as a coping mechanism, people can choose to stick their head in the sand and just like, let me go back to my cul-de-sac, and be, pro fight the power when I'm at work or something for 5 minutes or on social media, and then go into the cul-de-sac and just like,
Yes. And of course, we all need to take breaks, but in the main, if all we're doing is unplugging, then we're not going to be able to think about anything. All right. So what I'm saying is perpetuation of oppression requires dissociation, requires us ignoring reality. And once we're in the habit of ignoring reality, we can't be selective about it. We can't go, I'm going to ignore this reality, but I'm going to get a hold of that reality. I don't think it works that way. I want to hear what you think about that.
Well,
Scott,
so I got a question for you, too, if I can ask. So maybe this is getting to the crux of it, but maybe I'm jumping to the question too early. But it's frontal lobe, so I got to ask you.
Do it.
So, is there a possibility of having a balance then? If you said it's not, if you have that selective issue, right? Like pay attention to this, but not this. Is that even possible? Is there a balance that we can do, or is there something else we should be turning to mediate that? Sorry, Fly. Didn't mean to keep you up.
No.
That was right in his mic. He was like, he's like, hey, man. He's not here.
It's an interesting question. If you're looking at regulation of attention neurocognitively, actually there is let's say an optimal balance, like when our minds go to the stuff that our minds ought to go to and screens out other stuff. But if you're talking psychologically, which is really what I'm talking about, yeah, okay, fine. We do need to dissociate to some modest extent, right? Like, if our child is in jeopardy, we got to get busy. We can't be busy going overwhelmed by the feelings, right? We got to bracket that. But what I'm saying is dissociation is hugely overdetermined, hugely overused. And, you could think of us as dissociated culture or species, take your pick, man. I'm thinking about global warming here.
Right.
Like we're just not going to be able to wake up to that reality if we've decided to not wake up to the realities of, the brutality that exists in our culture.
I saw an article today, Russ. It said, and I don't know if you guys saw this. I think it was in like Google Science News reports or whatever. I'll put it up later. It talked about a way that scientists are trying to fight global warming is they invented a paint that is like, it's like the vanilla ice of paint. It is the whitest paint that they've ever made, and it's so white they're claiming that you won't even need like AC if you have this kind of paint like on your house. Like it obviously is going to reflect the sunlight. I just thought that was kind of brilliant. If it actually works at that point. Total sidetrack right there.
No, I feel you. I mean, it makes me think about like all the geeky scientists who aren't sort of creatively inclined in terms of spoken word. And, here they are going, we got to save their asses again, come up with something because we're all fucking around not getting it right, Anyways, so, all right. So to close that thought, it's what I'm trying to do is make a sustainable conversation over time by doing this residency. And it's, inviting people to think about what does it look like when you're narrating from the places that don't have voices. Like, and what do we look like trying to make a community that's about that? This is not a new idea. Other people are thinking about this. I'm just, throwing down.
Well, I think the timing is huge. Fly, what are your thoughts on that too? I think the timing with COVID, it just seems to be more needed now than maybe ever. Oh, I think I have you muted, Fly. I think I was trying to not hear your yawn. There you go.
I
You're
think
back
I'm
in the game, Fly.
unmuted. I'm muted. I'm
Sorry.
unmuted. I'm muted. I'm unmuted. Okay, I'm back.
I'm
So I
muted.
think it's a wonderful concept to be able to elaborate on people that don't have a voice, for the people who do not have a voice for themselves. The reason why this is important to me, man, because I have, been a part of a marginalized community.
I know.
For a large portion of my life. And so most cases, and we were talking about therapy earlier, there is a need to have someone to help, create the vehicle for you, because most people don't even know where to start. And so to have someone that can help create that. And there's also, like you mentioned, because we are, I don't want to say disassociated by nature, but if you believe in the concept of self-preservation, then in self-preservation has to be the level of disassociation, right? Don't preserve yourself.
Especially in the
And so
context of complex trauma and community-wide trauma. Yeah.
Right. And so there's people who don't believe, I was just reading a thread earlier this morning, that don't believe that marginalized communities really exist. They are of the persuasion that, you're
There
in
is
this
no margin.
predicament, right? You're in this predicament. You have the same amount of opportunities, the same luxuries as everyone else. That, like, everything you say about not being successful is just simply an excuse. They really don't think it exists. That is a real thing. And so, yeah, it's frustrating. And there has to be someone that can help create a voice for those people that, hey, there's a level of empathy and sympathy that exists, that you really just need to be aware of certain things, like you said, to make people cognizant of those realities so that they can care more about it and be involved and do something about it. But also just to create something that tells people that, how about just actually listening to what I have to say from someone from a marginalized community, that even if you hadn't experienced yourself, that it can still be believable. Like, you know what? I haven't witnessed that. I couldn't imagine going through that, or that anyone has, but I wouldn't imagine you make this up. Just to listen, to what a person would have to say. So what you're doing is going to be extremely liberating, and I hope it's going to be super successful.
Thank you, Fly. I mean, I'm humbled by what you're saying.
Where's it going to be, by the way, Russ?
Oh, it's a private venue in Dorchester, Massachusetts, right on the T, so easy to get to. And
people have to, like, hit you up with a secret knock or something to get there?
Just go to narrationsliberation.com.
All right.
Submit your email, express your interest, and we'll get back to you.
Great. And y'all might have missed that in the comments, but if you did, we had that in the comments earlier too. So scroll back up if you look, and we'll post it on there again.
And like I say, we're going to be live streaming as well. So
dope. Narrationsliberation.com. So do you have like a bunch of them planned in the future? Fly bounced out somehow. Do you have a bunch of them planned in the future? Or
I do not have them.
Time?
I don't have them scheduled yet. My aim is to get it to every other month and then weekly. But I'm also thinking about sustainability, because honestly, commitment to bringing a voice forward means you have to pay for the platform. Sure. And so, I'm also thinking about how to make it sustainable. So if there's any angels out there, let me know. I mean, I'm serious about this.
Absolutely.
And this is a worthwhile way of trying to make change, of trying to make things better.
Is there a wish list of featured performers you already have? I'm sure you got a bunch in mind. I heard some of the people you were talking about already, and it's quite impressive.
Cole Rodriguez is a talented spoken word artist who teaches. Well, her, and there's a few other people. There's a well-known sax player, Jerry Berganzi, who is interested in being a featured artist. So he's signed on. And for those of you who, know the Boston scene, the trio that's going to be backing up the open mic. Don't say it.
Don't say it's Jeff.
It would be nice. I mean,
that was out of control. I was going to say that can't be happening. He's got a Lizard Lounge to take care of or something, doesn't he?
Well, different flavor, but also tasty, is Aaron Bellamy on bass, Tony Hall on drums, and Andrew Foliano on sax.
I don't know who.
Oh, they're all genius. They're all fire.
Wow. Okay. A couple of those names I recognize, but wow. Okay.
To be honest with you,
par.
to be honest with you, if that's all that was happening, I'd be excited.
Absolutely.
But listen, I wanted to come back to something you were saying, Fly. Because, you know, ultimately, I think what you're saying goes to how do we make a culture that actually coherently acknowledges the reality of oppression and gets busy thinking about how to rectify. And that is a multiple generation task.
Yes.
Right? No question about it. And, you know, this is in hi, Anita. This goes to one of the things that I'm thinking about. Like, so if we can narrate in a way that's compelling, then people listen. Okay, so let's look at what's happening. We're on two wheels as a culture. Like, it might tip over, right? Yeah, like, and so, you know, the fascists have a mic, and you know they're making a play for apartheid. You know, they're making a play for. Listen, we understand we're going to be ever more in the minority, but we're going to fuck you up, and we're going to leverage our power now to try to remain in power.
Right here in DC, we're gonna hear
100%.
about it. Yeah.
And so, you know, it boggles my mind because generally speaking, the left is more articulate. Has bars, right? And yet we're not making the compelling narrative.
Terrible getting the message out. Yeah,
I think there's a naive idea. The naive idea is get a hold of the truth, explain the truth, and then people vote for the truth.
Nope.
It disregards the bell curve. The bell curve is people are moved by, you know, rhythm and passion and
personal story,
interesting combination and shiny things.
Yep.
You know, and it's so take the truth and then make a representation of the truth in the narrative that is compelling, that draws people. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So that's the other thing I'm thinking about, Fly.
Nah,
you know, and
I love that. So do you see spoken word as one of those vehicles to do that?
100%. And actually, do I have time to illustrate what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You should do.
All right, I'm going to do 2 or 3 pieces. One is by a young man who is in a residential treatment facility where I work. Now, I asked him and his mother if they were okay with me sharing this piece because, you know, I had shared he'd done some writing, and I can't say he was fully on fire with using his writing in the service of his healing. But we got to talking about it, and I shared with him some of the stuff that I've written, and he was like, "Oh, that's dope." And then he was determined. You know, then he wanted to come in and bring the fire. And so he walked in the last time I saw him, and he handed me.
I got something for you.
Exactly.
We're gonna cease being your side dancers on the side, and
okay, that's
give
fine.
you the stage.
That's fine.
All right.
So this is called. So this is written by this young man, and okay, I'm just gonna say that. It's called "We Ain't Had Much But Drugs." We are one without any fun, but the way you live cannot compare to my life or my existence. And yes, I had a hard life, but I overcame great odds. My mother was a heroin addict, and it left me kind of scarred. And my dad wasn't there, and he left me without a pause, 2 years old, in the system, heavily medicated from all the things I couldn't control. But now look at me. I live a life of 0 flaws. So yeah, it may be true that I was no one from the start. Just look how far I came. I got a chance to restart. When I was 5 years old, I looked at my mom and waved goodbye for the very first time. I was truly alone. I was at a place where even God didn't show his face, and people didn't care who you were inside, but we were a part of the system. I was lost, and I didn't know where to turn to. I saw the skyline pass by from my barred up window, and like Biggie, I even wondered why Christmas missed us, and all they had to say was welcome to the land of the lost. 10 years old, my mind was in a better place, but I lived a life that no one could fabricate, still locked up and left with nothing but these drugs. And one day the guns were drawn, and when push came to shove, no one even had a choice. It was either fight or get rocked. And believe me, I wasn't trying to flock with no one but my brother. He was my world. 13 years old, I learned to express myself in better ways. Writing was the greater tool because it helped me think straight. And each night I would wish upon a star to free me from my bond. Oh, the bond I had tied to these drugs. 15 years old, I started enhancing my vocabulary. I started reading poems and finding a true, deeper meaning to life. As I reflected on the life of my people, I responded and said, why, this ain't equal. So I wrote about, and I found God upon the stars. So as I went to sleep, I talked to him, and he told me to not worry about the drugs because my life had settled. And I was much more than a rebel because we ain't had much but drugs. Come back in. I want to see your faces and hear what you think about that young man's piece. Yeah.
It's compelling. It's compelling, man. That's a reality that I shared as well. And so, of course, it hits home with me, right? Because I experienced that firsthand. I'm always curious to know how other people feel about those realities, be it experience or just cognition, just like the desire to want to understand people and what they've been through. And when you hear things like that, man, listen, people need help.
People need help.
That they don't know exist or even how to find.
It's true. So,
and that's the call. That's the reach out. You know what I mean? That's and that's the most healthy way to do it. You know, given that space is just amazing what you're doing. So,
well, we're first storytelling beings, right? Like history was carried orally for the longest time before, the written word. So the spoken word is the root. And I'm sure I'm not an academe, so I'm not. I haven't read about this question, but I think about what happens when we put our experience through the language center, like in the brain. I think, something changes when we find words, and not just when we find words, but when we're, when someone's actually listening, something else happens, and that thing is healing, right? So
I love that.
Well, and when therapy is right, that's, the brilliant thing. You got a listener, but the listener understands your whole story and is busy going, okay, look, there's a kind of therapy called narrative therapy. And the whole concept is therapist as editor, as, might that work a little better if this is your narrative? My wife doesn't care about me anymore. I'm fucked. It's over. There's the narrative. Okay, got it. What would it be like for you? You said the other day that your wife was in tears when she said, I can't stand this anymore. What would it be like for you to imagine those tears as evidence of how much she cares about you?
She really does care. Yes.
Yeah, just that little minute. Like, does that edit in your narrative open something up? You know what I mean? So, there's an idea about, what the therapy looks like. What about a Fly?
You on to something, Russ.
Hey.
I'm man, listen, I'm enjoying the words, man. I have yet to hear anyone speak about narrative therapy. And so listening to you talk about it is I'm just absorbing, honestly.
Well, connect with me. I'm happy to talk with you more. I want to learn from you too, man.
Yeah, man. And narrative therapy, it's a beautiful thing, man. And so, of course, I find my solace in writing.
too.
Of course, my initial, we was just talking about this prior to or previously before you jumped on. I found my therapy initially in religion. And so just praying and really just cognitively, shifting my narrative. I went from thinking about my life as a victim into the narrative of like, what if I just made better choices? And what if I
That's it, man.
made a decision to help people who were in similar situations? That's been my therapy. I spend a lot of time now just with no formal training other than what God gives me, just trying to help other people, whether it's through listening to what they have to say, helping them get a job, or helping them, conduct an interview, or teaching them how to cook. So me teaching and giving back has been my therapy, man. It's really helped to heal a lot of things I dealt with in my life. You never know what your therapy is or what it can be. So my admonition to people in general would be just, you got to try. You never know what it is. In this case, it's spoken word for the audience, but for me, it was helping other people.
Well, you're making me. I'm smiling because you're making me think of something, which is the power of the slogan, like the ritualized piece of language. So
yeah,
so one idea is okay. We literally, like the shape of our brains is, we've got the primitive mind and the higher mind, and the primitive mind looks a lot like all the other animals. So, the gear to react, but not the gear to reflect, right? And arguably a lot of the healing happens in the, the higher mind, which is literally the higher mind, the cortex.
right.
That's on top of the brainstem, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was probably not a very effective graphic, but hey.
Got you. Yeah, got you.
With you, Russ.
Anyways, my point is that when we're agitated, like what's lit up, where the metabolism is, where the sugar's getting burned, is literally in the primitive mind, the reactive mind, right? Mm. And so any one of us can make a list as long as your arm about strategies for calming down. Breathe, take a walk, a reflective walk, meditate, et cetera, et cetera. You know it all. That's not the problem. The problem is remembering to do it in the moment. Mm-hmm. And remembering to do it in the moment is a function of higher mind. It's not a function of primitive mind. Mm-hmm. But the energy is in primitive mind. So how are you going to remember? And that's where slogan comes in. So, when you fly, say, you have to try. That's really simple. And what it is, arguably, is it makes a door from primitive mind to higher mind. So there you are, like fucking shit up, throwing dishes and whatever.
Everywhere.
And you stand a chance. You're not gonna stand much of a chance of going, oh yeah, I remember my therapist talked to me about how it's probably a good idea to breathe, and
take a breath and go for a walk.
Yeah, and there's that tape that they made for me, and let me just pop it in. No, but you might be able to get to just try. Just try. Oh yeah, what the fuck does that mean? Just try. Oh, okay. I got to get a hold of that. And then, you got the door, and then you can reflect again. At least in theory. Anyways, the reason I bring it up is I'm not the only one who's thought about that. On the social media app where I've fallen in with a bunch of ragtag spoken word folks, two of the poets that I respect the most, Tariq Nicholson and Deep Thought. Tariq was featured, and he was asked, what advice do you have? And
he's a professor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've definitely heard him. He's amazing.
Yeah, you might want to get him as a guest. Actually, both of these guys, they're amazing.
He's insane. Yeah.
But his advice was, like what you're saying, Fly. His advice was speak. That's it. Speak. And Deep Thoughts, he was featured yesterday, and it was fire.
He's dope.
Oh my God. His his thought was go deeper.
Hmm.
That's it. Go deeper.
Mm.
Like do the work. Anyways, I'm going to do a piece that includes a slogan that I thought of for my son when he was 3 or 4. He's 15 now. And let's see. Let me just find that. Yeah. And here's how you get to know that I'm a hack, that I don't have any of my work memorized. But hey, maybe I'll get there.
I didn't know that was the qualification of a hack.
I mean, it matters to me.
That's like that puts 90% of the people out there as hacks.
Oh, okay, fine. You know, there you are.
That's
very
fine.
gracious of you. But actually, I would like to be able to do it from memory. And I'd also like to improve my capacity to do it off the dome spontaneously. Let me just, here's Cole. I'm just going to let her. If she jumps on now, do we have a little time for her?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. So let me just tell her that. Sorry for the dead air. Okay. Ready. So the piece, I'm not going to tell you what that slogan is, but I definitely, coming to know my son, thought there is an idea that I really want this guy to get a hold of, and let me find a piece of compelling language that I can just use in a ritualized way, so that it'll get in. Like, what's the simplest way to say this? What's a compelling way to say it? And the reward came a few days ago when in his deep basso now, he was eager to get done with a conversation with me. And he went, I know. And then he quoted that slogan.
That's great.
So it stayed with him. This is called Spring, My Son. And the celebration returned. Black wrought iron table on patio. These lush spring greens with balsamic. The shining gilt dome distant. In foreground, a sun-dappled street, brownstones inviting me home, or to a remembrance of home, the nostalgia for home, all the while holding hope for home. The metronome sets all things right. You find the rhythm, then enjoy the flight. You might get fancy, or you could be contrite. That's right. You could incite a fight, or you could just let it rest. Yes, that would be best, son. Never mind how the temper run. Temperate? Sure. Find the temperature. It don't have to be pure. It can still be a cure. Now I find the reset, the jet set, the best bet. But listen, son, it don't mean a thing if it ain't what you bring or brought from your original thought. Make it you. Make it big. The rest is just figment. Make it what you meant. Look, it's just Mathematica. That stop and think trick, and what it can do for you. It's good for you. So what you choose to do or refuse to do has everything to do with whether you come through or whether it trends towards the gruesome. How it's true some of the time there's interest in grime, but if we're to come clean, you got to say what you mean, which you cannot do if you do not know you, and how knowledge of self is like knowledge of self is like knowledge of self is like knowledge of self. Anyway, I'm just saying, the poet says speak. And son, if you want to find that inner freak, that place where you greet yourself, the best shot to see yourself, complete yourself, is to find the words and let them rain down like the songs of birds, like sacred balm. Like I say, when you're calm, everything that comes out of you is beautiful. I love you, son.
Nice.
Go bring yourselves back.
Nice. I caught the wordplay too, man. I appreciated the wordplay. I caught the gruesome when you knew some line there too, what you were doing with that little internal.
But the rhyme was almost like a that's
subtle, like
the internal rhyme.
Yeah, it was that subtle, you
They
know,
created
like
a segue into the story.
yeah. I know
That was
Cole
great.
has I know Cole Rodriguez has spoken on that too.
Oh, she's amazing.
Talking about not always needing to rhyme, you know, and when you do it subtly like that, it's real cool as well. It can be like almost unexpected, like that. You started out without that, then all of a sudden they started coming in, and it grabs your ear in a different way, and you're like, oh, okay, you know, you listening with that higher mind too, you know, very cool. So what did he repeat to you? What did he exactly say? Your son.
I know, Dad. When I'm calm, everything that comes out of me is beautiful.
I figured that was that. Yeah. Nice, man. Nice. Years later, right?
You know, what am I saying to him? I'm saying, look, before you engage your problem-solving conversation, get yourself chill. When you're calm, everything that comes out of you is beautiful. Just get calm. Just chill. Just find yourself. Get a hold of yourself. Find your center. Everything else will work itself out. You know, that's really what I'm trying to say to him.
If
me.
only.
I'm totally. No, I'm trying to say it to me. No, seriously. And just to be clear, I you know, I've always written, but in the main, I'm late to the party, man. I haven't really started writing in earnest until recently. And thank you, Trina. You know, it's blowing my mind what it's doing for me. Like I can feel my brain growing with working on the spoken word thing.
Absolutely, yes. Speak on it. Speak on it. We talk about that all the time. So
all the time, man. Something about writing, man. It's very therapeutic, man.
You feel the shift, you know.
You feel it. And like every now and then, yeah, like you tap into this matrix sometimes where it's like, where's the stuff coming from? It's almost surreal.
And clarifying and really just, you know, really solidifies your
clarifying.
Yeah, it solidifies maybe that fleeting understanding that you have and really makes it permanent, you know.
That's right, you know, and you know, that's one reason to write pieces focused on, you know, powerful public moments of both trauma and hope, because it helps us hold on to it. Like there's some shit we should never forget. And if you think about, you know, the past decade and all the things you bookmarked with, I'm never going to forget this, I'm never going to forget that. And then if we were to talk about it now, you'd be like, yeah, I forgot 80% of it.
Yeah, that's why I refuse to do, I refuse to not do, I'm always quoting this thing that I did for Emerson, they did it for civil rights. And, you know, it was the 50th anniversary of 1964. So I did it in 2014, but I always do it. I do it all the time, and I won't change the lyrics because I want you to listen to how it was then bookmarked there. Yeah, I'll write new stuff too that goes like tangentially with that, but it's like, no, I want you to hear that one. I want you to hear, you know, whether it's whoever you're bookmarking, you know, like when you're speaking on, you know, whether it's senseless murders at the hands of the police or, you know, what have you, it's overwhelming, and we cannot possibly remember all of the people's names, which is, I feel saddened by, right, all the time. And it's like, at least in our poetry and our works of art too, we can crystallize and memorialize, and then call back to it. It's like, okay, but still, what has really been done here? Like, are you not still outraged, you know? And
that's it.
And what does that make you want to do with your next thing that you write, you know? So
that's it. And pushing past the feeling of this is exhausting to be in that place again. Because, you know, if we're doing the work right, when we read the piece, we're going to feel the piece, you know? And you know, there's pieces I have done that I think are actually good enough to read over and over again, but I also feel discomfort. Like I wrote a piece to Gianna Floyd's victim impact statement. I don't know if you saw that clip of her.
I think so.
Powerful. And so, you know, I wrote a piece about that,
Yeah,
that hurts to read. It feels
Yeah.
exhausting to read.
absolutely.
But I also think it's important to, keep it. This, by the way, reminds me of a shout out that I wanted to give. Michael Rothenberg,
Mhm.
100,000 Poets for Change.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I met him
So-
on Clubhouse too. Yeah.
So the 11th anniversary of that's coming up.
Yeah.
And
I think you might have been in that room when I was in there. Maybe one of the first times I was in there a couple months ago.
that's probably right. So this was something that he and another person dreamed up 11 years ago. So this is the 11th anniversary coming up, I want to say on the 28th. And there's a bunch of rooms on Clubhouse pertaining to that. I'm going to be in one where Michael's going to be, and I'm going to do a piece. And a bunch of other people are going to do pieces. And that'll be exciting. So,
Absolutely.
find me, I'll ping you, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that's that Clubhouse secret language right there.
Right. Sky, are you on Clubhouse?
Fly with you.
Fly.
Fly's getting ready. over there.
Somewhat.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhat. I tune in occasionally.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
You'll see him in a room now and then. You'll see him in a room.
In any case, this event is the largest poetic event ever, and it's basically people put on events internationally on this day pertaining to spoken word, and so that's coming right up.
Is it going to be 100,000? Is that the goal right now?
Well, I'm not sure it's literally 100,000,
Right.
but let me.
There was someone in the room that day, and he was like, "Why not 1 million?" He was like, 100,000 is too low. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
Yeah,
So
I was
dude.
I was in that day, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "You know how many people doing 100,000?" He's like, "Hey, you have big expectations. You can go from 100,000 to 1 million, like boom." I was like, "Okay." Anita said, "Ping me, I'm there."
Yeah, there you go. Well, look, yes, I will, Anita. So if you look up just the number 100, and then caps TPC,
Okay.
1,000 Poets for Change. If you look that up, you'll find your way to the website that lists all of the events happening internationally coming right up. So that's, in keeping with what I'm talking about and trying to get done. And here's somebody else who's got another take on it and has really blown it up worldwide.
Russ, how big is your venue? How many people can you hold at this safely in these days and times?
Roughly 40.
Okay.
And I do mean safe. It's outdoors.
Yeah.
Semi-sheltered. So it's rain or shine. If there's a downpour, that might be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And the social distancing is worked out for 40, and we'll be asking people to mask except for when they're on the mic.
Yeah, no doubt. That's really cool.
So if you have any trepidations about, and I should say also, if there's any people who are inclined to come, but they're extra worried about safety, there's also a good view of the stage from standing back from anybody. You can be 15 feet from people and still.
Oh, okay.
The
way you have it set up. Yeah, is it like on ride or something?
It's a classic Dot triple decker is what it is.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Yeah.
And he's got the backyard set up with a stage and sound fidelity.
Man, some of my favorite shows are that way. Yeah.
He's been doing a thing called Reggae Takeover, and it's quality reggae shows for the most part, and he's been doing it right through the pandemic, so long as people aren't going to freeze.
So how do you feel? I want to shift gears just a little bit.
Sure.
So I kind of touched on the stuff that may or may not go down tomorrow. What's your take on this? I don't know what we call it. Do we call it a protest of the? Well, I don't know what they're calling it. Protest of the January 6th insurrection for those wrongly arrested. Is that what the claim is? Have you been able to make heads or tails of the situation?
I'll be honest with you. I literally, in spoken word rooms, will say, "This is where I come for the news," and I kind of mean that, like the narrative that's compelling, that tells me something about what's happening in the world. I find there.
Right.
And that also means that I'm more apt to do a crossword puzzle than tune into the news. So I get the gist just from what you're describing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, I'm right here for everybody who doesn't get the gist. Tomorrow, Washington D.C. It's there's going to be a I guess a protest by some of the same. I shouldn't say by the same people who organized the January 6th insurrection, but people that feel that there were people wrongly arrested and that shouldn't have been are rallying tomorrow. Maybe up to 700 people. So if you haven't seen the news, Capitol Hill, which I drive by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday every day, sometimes get out and walk around there, is all gated up now with, well, I should say fenced up right on Capitol Hill, just to prevent a repeat of January 6th. There's also planned counter protest, and people are worrying about the clashing, and there's, as you can imagine, the police are not playing around this time. They're there, and yeah, so it's going to be interesting. So that is tomorrow.
Yeah, I have a thought about that. To me, that goes back to what you were saying earlier, Fly, about how there's people who literally deny racism, you know, and here's what I think. I think we diminish our efforts and our energies if we pay too much attention to that radical faction. Like, they're gone. They're gone. We're not going to draw them.
Yeah.
And they have every intention of making as much noise as we can. So let us actually not distract ourselves by talking about that thing. Let us speak from our place is really what I'm saying. So fuck them is really what I'm saying.
To speak to the people that want to hear. Sometimes too, though, Russ, just in tandem with what you're saying, of course, completely agreeing with what you're saying. Oftentimes we just don't know who they are. And so for me, every resolution has to start with a common ground. And so the conversation has to at least initially be had. And then, you know, for those of us who are aware, back to your point, once you realize who they are, you just got to disengage. You know, just like, you know what, there's no common ground. So of course, obviously, there's no foundation for change. And so, yeah, you know, I'll easily step away once I see that that's it. But I'm always willing to at least have that initial discussion about it, just to kind of, just to see where a person's, just kind of like as a barometer, you know, just kind of gauge where their mind is about it. Not really with the intent to, you know, persuade people, but just for awareness, right? Because I feel like some people just don't know and just need to be introduced to some of the concepts of being able to help people, and most people respond.
Being a decent human being, you know,
right? Being a decent human being. But you said there's some people out there that's radical, so far gone, and I'm fully persuaded that sometimes we over exaggerate things. You know, you have like your always and never people, and so people will take a small portion of a section or a group and try to pin that attitude to everyone. Especially happens in religion, where, you know, a couple bad Christians, and then, you know, Christians aren't any good as a whole. You know, we do that a lot, and so I try to avoid that as much as possible. So I am aware that there are individuals in our world who don't get it, will not get it ever. And so, you know, once you weed them out, you know, you let the wheat and the tear grow together.
Weed them out.
Right, because at the onset, they look the same, and you might pluck your wheat trying to get the tear too soon. So you had that initial conversation and let it grow, and then you can easily pluck it out. So anyway, that's my approach.
Period.
And me, I'm stubborn. I'm just trying to save the world, and I'm out there trying to teach. You know, I'm like, I find a flat earther, and I'm like, can we talk? Can we talk? You know, I just want to have a conversation with you.
So you're very optimistic, is what
I am. I believe that I just know how stupid I am and how stupid I was, and you know, it's been an exponential curve for me out of like ridiculously just not aware. You know, and it's just like, for real. Like you look at how far you've come in your own life. Maybe at least I've been able to look at how far I've come, and I know how much more work I have to do. But I'm like, if I've been able to see some of the light, you know what I mean? Like,
I
let
do.
me
I
try
do.
to
I do.
convince some more of that for you, because I believe in people. You know, I'm like, I believe that we can get easily misled and we can get easily bombarded. We all do. I don't really believe in. Fly and I may have a different take on this. I don't really believe in like pure evil. I just believe that people do things out of hurt. They do things out of pain, and that's what makes them do those kind of things. I don't think that there's like just patently evil people running around that are just born evil and just come into it, and you know what I mean. It's like you have to learn. You know, humans aren't trying to, you know, necessarily trying to eat your lunch unless they're just trying to survive, you know. And if they feel they can't eat their lunch, then they might eat yours, you know.
They eat yours.
Yeah. So it's like, how can we, you know, I'm on the education path, obviously. So it's
I'm with that. I'm
bleeding
with that. I'm with that. I'm definitely
So-
with that. I agree with that.
Let me make a few comments about that. First of all, that's a great deployment of your gift. I mean, you're next to the picture of you is next to the word voluble in the dictionary. Like, just your ease at engaging people. I'm sure you can engage folks that are often, ready to bite a hand or just, guarded. I'm sure you can put people at ease. So that's great. The other comment I want to make is it depends on the context. So in my work, absolutely, I'm with you that I'm, interested in connecting with, the lowest percentage probability individual who's really looks irredeemably lost. And that's as interesting to me as working with somebody that's, kind of got the hang of it and just wants some pointers. In a way, the former is more engaging and interesting, honestly. It's really, I was talking about the political arena or the public discourse arena when I was saying, fuck them. Let's pay them no mind. And, I'll even modify that. Like we definitely need warriors who are going to take them down. Like the comedians who are devastating with these guys.
Yes.
So that's good. We need that. I'm just saying that if we're trying to move minds, it's like the casino. You need 50.1%.
Yep.
In order to win.
Yeah, and then you win big. Yeah.
Right. So we just need to move the most movable minds. And that's where when I talk about trying to hone the narrative or burnish the narrative,
that's what the
refine the narrative. That's the audience right there.
What you basically, I mean, I don't want to paraphrase for you, but for me, that always sounds like it always sounds like the most maybe logical minds, right? The logical minds who haven't really pondered the issue maybe as hard as they need to, and to really what Fly was speaking about too. It's like, how can you not, even value my reality, kind of, and that crowd. It might be too far gone sometimes, the ones who are like heads in the sand. I still believe that they can have some, pulled up, but I think you're right. The bang for your buck is kind of the people that are at least lukewarm to the idea that, what, maybe there's racism in the world and I just don't see it, but when you start out with people like, well, you just get over it, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. You can see the writing on the wall and you're like, and honestly, I say this to you, Russ, too, being from Boston, there's a lot of that in Boston, right? I mean, Boston is just
complicated town.
That. Yeah, it's just crawling with that. Whereas, you go to other parts of the country, it's a little bit more on the sleeve, not maybe as veiled, and you see that frustration come out like that. I almost call it that Boston frustration, like we've lost so much in sports and whatever. You just got to show me the money because I don't believe you, kind of thing. And it's like the same way with like race. It's just like, what are you whining about? Like, I haven't seen any problems. Like, so I haven't seen any problems. So of course there aren't any because my reality is the only reality.
Oblivious.
That pay attention, right? Yeah. It's just like, if it ain't in front of my face, show me the money. It isn't reality. And that's really what Russ opened on. It's just, the realities for us. If it's not smacking you in the nose, then, oh, well, we can just kind of go about our day to day and just, kind of cope with our problems.
Yeah.
Screw everybody else. So,
Yeah, unfortunately, they exist. Of course, I agree with the optimism that you have. I do share that. In the spiritual aspect, I do believe that there's a such thing as, the polar opposites with good and evil. But as it relates to mankind and human, I just believe that we all are influenced by something, and so it could be good or bad at any moment. And so I think we're just vessels, and for the most part,
Nice.
created with the intent to be good. But just sometimes some of us are more influenced by things that aren't good than others, and so forth and so on. So yeah, I believe that generally speaking, all people have some good in them. Our practices, our environments, our experiences kind of help mold who we become in a lot of ways. And things we've been taught, especially a subject like racism, that's definitely a learned behavior. I mean, I'm just from what I can observe, it seems like a learned behavior to me. Racism, like if we don't talk to them, or if they look like this, and you just go to the other side. I think that's something that you learn from someone. And so, but if I never teach my kids, hey, if you see a boy with a dress, stay away from him, then he's gonna adapt that behavior based on how I taught him. But if I teach him, you love everybody equally, allow people to make their own decision, what I've taught you, but don't treat people differently.
I mean, you're right. I mean, we're definitely hardwired for fear. I mean, certainly, and comes with a rational reason, right? Why people would be fearful of what they don't know, and
exactly
as a survival mechanism. But when you are obviously lumping, every this, every that, then you're going to have some problems, and it's going to make life very difficult for you when you realize that your assumptions based on survival are wrong, or at least wrong some of the time, getting into the evolutionary aspect of why you'd want to run away from a tiger. It's like pretty much if you see a tiger, you pretty much do want to run, but you're probably not going to get away. But you probably don't want to entertain the tiger, and if that's been your whole reality that all tigers are the same, right? Because tigers are trying to do pretty much the same thing, then that would be healthy for you to have that kind of mindset.
Totally feel like you're onto something important when you say this, and let me just double it. So it's genetically selected to be good at perceiving threat. And so our attentional systems are more organized to perceive threat than they are to perceive safety. Safety's nice, but we're not busy scanning in order to find safety. We're busy scanning in order to look out for danger, right? And one could argue that that's become overdetermined. So we're very prone to that tipping over into paranoia and hypervigilance. Okay,
right.
What does the paranoid hypervigilant person do? They tend to misperceive something that's safe as dangerous. So they're going to react to it as dangerous. Now imagine the other who intends safety, who's being responded to as if they're bringing danger. They're going to start to agitate. Absolutely. And then before you know it, these people are traumatizing each other, right? And once we're traumatized, then it's infinitely harder to make our way back to perception, safety, and rationality.
Deep pocket in your mind that is that scar, if you will, that is really, really hard to repair.
And so big, it's hard to differentiate scar from self sometimes.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
I like that.
Hey, prompt.
I like that.
Hashtag. Yeah, man. You got any more poetry in your bag, or is that what you wanted to come with?
I'll do another if you want.
We got time. I say we have time. I mean, typically we go to 10:30, but we have time for a selective last piece here, of course.
All right. This is me trying to hold my feet to the fire. No, me trying to practice what I'm trying to preach. So I'm saying, speak from the unspoken places. And, at a certain point, I was like, okay, that sounds good. So what about you? Are you going to do it? And so, it's an ongoing process. But, this piece was expressly with me thinking, all right, let me speak from the places that don't get a voice. It's called The Unsafe Safe. I failed again. Willie J. Laws laying down some heavy blues with a band of killers. Honky tonk fire pit. Water element softly gurgling. Scarcely moves the savaged beast. Best to raise my eyes to the sky. Turn and face the broken place. As I go down, the fiercest crown adorns my mind in thorns. When I raise my eyes, when I raise my eyes, when I stay real, only then can I feel how the beast is ravaged. I beckoned the rain, it seems, dreams and Willie singing about 96 tears and standing in the rain. It's all to call me back to me. This trumpet is all about it, though. Arguably the place of my deepest wound, that symbol, how my father never could come through on the promise of my own horn, how I could not know then that he was fatally born to senseless and hurtful rituals, so he had nothing to give. How are you going to tell me to come home soon when all I see is ruin, and all I can think is how I failed? I would not set bail if I were you. Some of these hunger pangs are blades. I shrink from pain, regain charades. These highly symbolized mute rituals, seemingly random, yet the symmetry tandem, you on your run of home and away games, while I am spun to atone and display shame. All at once, surely the kind of fix that puts me back on the mix. My tick's the ticket, prefix seems cricket. If only the menu were true, I could feast after we screw. Yet, side eye, I see what I am loath to see. I shake like a leaf on my family tree. Generations from root to highest branch, the soundless avalanche burying deep the sown seeds to disown needs, but only to say, don't feel if you want to survive. See, it's back to the knives, and don't miss this. They're going to cut it out unless you dismiss this. In my divided loyalty, I try to discern villainy from royalty. Look, if I can't fix my thing, then I can't be the king. I am as apt to be mercenary as I am to be visionary. Do I lack patience, or is the lie decried? I'd prefer to be civil, but I'm less Jekyll than Hyde. Poem.
I got a quote up there. Hope I got that right.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of them. I was like, man, I gotta get
Oh, good.
pencil out there. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, let me get you off the solo tip there. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, bro. That's.
I like being bracketed between you guys.
Did you ever rap?
Never. I'm a slow twitch kind of guy. I mean,
I've never heard that said in that context, and right there you disproved the theory because that was fast twitch all the way, bro. I'm
talking about straight off the cuff.
I like that. I like that.
Well, Nate Senior on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So he's doing an improv room where, and it's a regular thing where he gives a person a prompt and then you just got to go. And so I'm like kicking and screaming going into this room lately, just going, all right, I have to do this.
I got to jump in that room.
Well, you'll kill it, of course.
I peeked in and it was someone was doing something. I didn't even know what was going on. So I jumped out, but I had a feeling that's what they were going to be doing by what it was called. You gotta give us one before you go. Give us a topic. We can all jump in.
Oh yes. Oh, I would love to do it. Hey Gary, thank you for those kind words.
Absolutely. I like the I'm less Czechoslovakia. Yeah. There's a lot of kind words to it. Just didn't click them all up there. There's a few. Anita. Shout out Anita. All right. So Russ is gonna give us a topic, Fly. We're gonna have to roll with it. Whatever you feel, Fly. You want me to go first, or you?
Yeah, I'm feeding off. I'm feeding off of you.
All right. I'm at that. All right, cool.
Do you are you gonna collaborate, or am I giving you each a prompt?
I'm not sure.
All right, you let me know if you want another prompt.
All right.
I'm just gonna go with America is aspirational.
America is aspirational. That's definitely true. I think what America is aspirational for is to be Canada. It's like our northern neighbors seem to have it down right about now. They went from the butt end of the joke and have turned it all around to now we're looking up and going, can I be more like the people who live upstairs? Like I used to collect rent from you, but now I think it needs to be the other way around. Feel free feel free to throw stuff in for us. I don't know what the rules are, but Fly,
that was actually good. That was actually good. I like that.
You want to riff off that, or you want another prompt?
I couldn't even touch that. That was so good.
Okay.
What else you got, Russ?
I don't know. You want to go with something blue or no?
I don't know.
All right, I'll give you one.
Good one.
All right, a good one. Not
I don't know the rules here. I don't know when I'm supposed to come in after him or what.
Right. I'm not sure. I'm not as.
Just tell him if you want to. If you Fly, if you want him to tap in, you just say so. Okay.
All right.
All right. Give me a sec.
Take your time.
That's a sensitive mic, bro. I was like, didn't even.
You hear everything.
I was like, yeah. That's why when you went, it was like, wow, that was a sensitive mic. Because you're actually using that mic right there. Mine is just for looks. I'm using the big boy right there.
Yeah, I have a mic attached to my
Dr.
tripod.
Russ.
I'm working on it. Sorry, no, I'm not like
no, it's cool.
user friendly in this moment.
We're here with Dr. Russ. Okay.
All right. Okay, Fly.
All right.
I decided to stay home tonight.
Yeah, it was. My options were stay home and link up with the doc, or go to the backyard and end up back home. So, I really just decided that it'd be best for me to find a resolution that would allow me to venture. And home isn't home, right? I'm talking about the home away from home. The place where we escape from, where you hear the kids, but you don't really hear them. And you're in the zone and you're in the same room with everyone, but you're really not. It's kind of like your body's here with me, but your mind's on the other side of town. Yeah, I decided to stay home. What you think, Pro?
I think my home does the deciding for me. I'm really just a passive observer. I have a leak in my bay window, and I was posting pictures to Facebook yesterday about the guy with the ladder looking up, and my home was like, "You need to stay your ass in." You know what I mean? It was like you got a lot of things here you need to take care of, and you can only see what's behind me, not what's in front of me. And if you saw what's in front of me, you would know that my home has also decided that I need to put a little bit more time into cleaning the bonus room that lies in front of me. So I really was very passive in the whole decision-making process. That's what I'm sticking with.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, can I give you guys one more?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna go with what my friend Anita has proposed. You see it down there?
Oh, grooving in the goodness of life.
Yes.
Is that you? I think I stole the. Who's supposed to go?
Whoever's moved
Fly.
to.
All right, yeah, you go first, bro. It's back on you.
All right. Grooving in the goodness of life has different stages during life. I mean, when you're 15 and you're grooving in the goodness of life, you're literally grooving in the goodness of life. And when you're 65, maybe you're just getting onto the scale and watching it wiggle and watch it jiggle, right? You could be grooving in the goodness of life just because you're actually here in life, right? As we get older, grooving is just a shoulder shake. It's just a shimmy.
Hey,
It's a two-step maybe when you're 25, but it's a one-step when maybe you're 75, right? And so we all have different levels. We're all in different stages, but the important thing is to keep it grooving and keep it moving.
Yeah, man. There's no move like the groove, right? And so the groove is really melodic, right? The groove is it's the pulse, right? You can hear it and the irregular heartbeat, and it makes it look like I can't dance, but it's like I'm grooving to the beat of my own drum. You know what I mean? And so you just keep the groove going on. But I love it when we all grooving together.
hey.
It just makes everything.
Love it when we
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did that.
It usually just
Grooving
works,
and
man.
moving.
Yeah, and the goodness of life, man, makes the groove even better, man. Especially when we're doing it together.
And we do it. All right,
Yes, indeed.
Man, what a privilege
Russ.
to be part of this with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
man.
Pleasure is all ours. We get to hear your poetry. We get to think deeply about some things that sometimes we don't get a chance to do. Trina said thank you. Anita said love it, fellas.
Yeah.
Gary said Fly is humming Fugees. And yeah, I clicked the wrong one there, but yes. I mean, by the way, thank you for all the listeners with your and watchers and for the comments. We have a couple streams that the comments aren't coming through on, so I apologize to those folks. That does happen to us occasionally. I'm trying to let some of them through. I have this echo on my voice that I got to be honest, I'm kind of enjoying. So I know it might be irritating, but I'm listening to it and trying to go, hey, to hear what it does.
We don't hear it.
Oh, cool.
Sure
I'm hearing it in my headphones, and I'm always excited. You know, I do it every time when the knock comes, and I think you guys hear it all the time. And so, I'm glad you told me, because every time the knock comes, I'm like, yo, yo, yo. So it's lovely in my ears. But that's part of, grooving in the rhythm of life.
I like it. Well, listen, Professor Lyrical, I know we'll have more opportunity for conversation. Fly, I really hope you'll hit me up.
Yes,
it
sir.
Feels like we got more to talk about.
Yes, sir.
It's true that I'm, I intend for this thing to be sustainable and ongoing. Narration is liberation. Go to narrationsliberation.com and put your email in there, and I'll send you the info about the October 3rd Narrations Liberation Spoken Word residency with Cole Rodriguez as a featured artist. There's an open mic. You can sign up for the open mic. I hope you will. Be backed up by that fire trio I was talking about. And,
next time I'm in Boston, I'm there. I'm
so.
looking for the secret knock and figuring it out. I'm coming through. So
you know where to find me.
Absolutely. Well, I don't, but I will.
Dorchester, man. Dorchester, man.
That's all I know. I know it's.
Yeah, man.
You know how to hit me up.
I do. I do. I appreciate it. I think it's dope. I support what you're doing, and we're lucky to have you on. And thanks for sharing with us.
Let me know any way I can help, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was awesome, man. That's probably the most fun. I don't want to use the word fun because it was also educational and inspiring. He's my favorite guest so far.
Edutainment. Wow. Well, that's big. We've had some guests. That's big. Yeah, Russ is a great dude, man. You can just tell he's talking about the calm, and it's exactly, first time I heard him in the Clubhouse arena, that immediately exuded from him too. I'm like, this dude's in control of his faculties. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
He's grooving with the goodness of life. Is what it is.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. And but no, everything that he's rolling with is hard to disagree with. So those people who are lucky enough to have benefited from his services probably can speak to that. And I think more of us, you know, honestly, it's inspiring when people are doing things and just being like, you know what, I'm sitting around like there's no reason I can't actually be part of the solution. You know what I'm saying? And think a little bit differently maybe than we would have before. So
Thank you
speaking
for
of
saying that, sir. Thank you for saying that.
speaking of which, speaking of people who think differently, look who's here. I don't know if you meant to be there
Yo,
that quick.
Charlie.
LD. Let me throw some of these comments still on the screen. So big shout outs to Russ. If you missed Russ, he was here. Dr. Russ was amazing, Anita. Thank you. Thanks, Tree. Thanks, Sierra. Thanks, Gary. Yeah. Thanks,
Yo.
Steven.
What's up,
There
Charlie?
he is. What it is, LD, the Human Freedom logo.
That's what it is, man. Living, breathing, eating it, man.
The only logo that matters. We can't see you, but we see the logo.
You see the brand.
We're gonna
More
solo
important
that.
to be.
We're gonna solo that. In fact, there it is, right there. What
Freedom
it is,
corner. Freed
Yeah,
from the
what's
corner.
good? My brothers, man, what's good? About to get it popping like corn. It's a warm up.
I know what you did there.
I had an ultimatum like my name, Jason Bourne, but traded in my life because it was jail of the corner.
What?
Yes,
My life
sir.
is like a movie. I ain't talking Time Warner, man. Don't get me started, man.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we have this latency thing on this because like I always want to echo what people are saying. I'm like, I just better shut up. Like I can't. It's gonna be 4 seconds off or whatever. But once we fix that, man, we can all be singing "Fly" in unison. We'll be grooving to the goodness of life.
To the goodness of life, sir.
Yeah.
We sound somewhat in tandem. I think so on my end anyway. But it's a privilege, man.
You want to put that to the test? Because I'll tell you what. How about I count 1, 2, 3, and you try to say 4, 5, 6 right on with me. Ready?
Yeah, let's
We'll
try
go.
it.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4,
4,
5, 6.
6.
Nope, not even close.
It's not even close. It's not even close.
There you go. That was our metronome test.
We tried it.
Yeah, man. The things we do for entertainment. What's good, LD, man? I know you've had a busy week, man. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling blessed, man. Feeling wonderful. I'm hoping I'm gonna get as many people as I can for a couple weeks from now, man. That's what I'm putting together right now. That's what I'm focused on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know you are, man. I know you putting in those grinds, those hours, those plans, man. As we've been speaking to.
Executive of the year, man.
Absolutely.
Man, love y'all, man. Straight up.
Yes, sir. We
Love you, LD.
the process that Doc was explaining is a healthy one. It kind of when you initially mentioned it, of course, I instantly thought about you and how you use hip hop to educate. It's kind of like somebody's doing with spoken word. Is using it to in a lot of ways educate people, or help people process information, which is still teaching them how to deal with their feelings of the insufficiencies or inefficiencies, however you want to put it. And I think it's gonna be dope, man. I don't know. I think I probably was just really impressed as well by. I don't think I ever really heard anybody talk about therapy from that angle. I think that really
absolutely. It definitely needs more of a form. My man Ian Levy, he's Dr. Ian Levy now. I met him in Cambridge. It was me, him, Acrobatic, and who's another Boston rapper, who's real dope. I have to explain this to some of my non-Boston people, but he came through, and his mentor, who's now one of my mentors as well, even though I don't see him on a regular like that, just we can have mentors who are not, in our day-to-day life, but is Dr. Chris Emden, and Chris Emden had a death in the family, and he wasn't able to actually attend the event that day, and it ended up giving us a little bit more time. We ended up freestyle and rapping or whatever, and Dr. Ian Levy was freestyling, but he was speaking on his platform, which I was speaking on mine, and they were very similar. Mine ended up leading from this talk. It turned into, there was a guy there from TED, and he was like, "Yo, I need you to do the TED talk on what you were talking about." I was like, "Yo, okay, great." And Ian is like ready made for TED Talks too. He does very similar to Russ. His work is rooted in using hip hop as therapy as a guidance counselor. So he's a guidance counselor who journals with his mentees. I don't know if I want to say that, but the people that come through for guidance, really. So he has written a lot about it, has written a lot of papers. That's what his doctorate is on about, more specifically hip hop journaling. And I've learned so much from him and others in that kind of vein. And so we all come at it different ways, but we're all trying to move the needle, the same, but we're just doing it in slightly different ways. So it's beautiful to see when people can use the things they have at their disposal to get at it. And we all know what works. We all know that, expression is important. Communicating what you feel is important. Bottling up. So
that's what's up. That's what's up, man. It was a good night, man. It's been a really long day. My wife said I look sleepy.
You yawned once. I was like, you worked a long day. You sit in that chair. It's like for me, like I watch. I watch very liberal media shows, very progressive media shows, and one of them that my wife watched. My wife will watch Rachel Maddow, and she record it. And I'm not front, I do too, but I watch it usually at 11 at night. And Rachel has a way of telling a story that can just put me to bed. So, love my
Little Red Riding Hood, a long way to grandma's house.
Yeah, it's like if that needs to be at 8 o'clock, because it's like 11. I get into bed. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna watch that. She's like, no, you're not. You'll be asleep in 10 minutes. Boom. And like I don't sleep until you put me in the bed and I'm watching somebody who can tell a story. And then I'm like, bam. And as great as it is, then I'll wake up and I'll watch it at like 3 PM or something. I'll be like, yeah, this is amazing. How did I ever fall asleep? Put in those days,
Yeah, man. It's been a long week, man.
Epi the Prophet. It's good, Epi.
Man, Epi, my man. What's going on, Epi? We missed you tonight.
We missed you, man.
Better not
that Dr. Russ back. Yeah, enjoyed doing some what was he calling the improvisation at the end? That was fun.
That was.
It didn't even feel like improvisation. It was more like, maybe we were twisting it in a way we weren't supposed to. It was just like,
I didn't really know the rules, and I know we did. We did a little improv. What was that? 2 Fridays ago.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah,
from a comedic perspective, and so I just was kind of going with the flow, man. We probably were doing it all the way wrong.
Let's get LD in. LD, with this, what he did, man. So he mentioned a topic like when bills are late, it's time to pay them. So what comes to mind, Freedom? Boy, that was a dangerous one for a lot of people, right? You might be representing a lot of people.
You know what I'm saying? you speaking to the
jump in. That's funny, haha.
Speaking to the deferred community, man.
The deferred community.
You might be speaking to the student loan community, man.
I'm still moving around. I think I'm in a bad spot. It's kind of dragging, but yeah, that's it's Freedom Corner, yeah. So we familiar with that. We familiar with that.
We all familiar with that. We all familiar.
I'm familiar with an extension.
I'm familiar with my car being repossessed.
Telling you, man. Yeah, man. Life in its challenges, man. But like, man, we groove into it, right? To the goodness. The goodness and mercy that will follow us all the days of our lives, man. When your intentions, I believe, are good, like kind of what we talked about tonight with Russ, good things will follow, man. Good things will follow, man. Same thing happens more often than none, man. Honestly, man, I believe in the power of energy. Some people may use the word karma. I mean that has both ways. You do good, you reap what you sow. I guess in a biblical term, you reap what you sow. And so, man, if you sow good things, man, and good intentions into the earth, I mean,
so like it's cause and effect. Y'all can load the cards in the deck, but you
can't
pull fate, show the God some respect. You gotta expect that everything you thought was correct was possibly wrong. That's why I've chose songs to perfect. It's hard to accept that all we are is dust in the wind, because as a kid, I always felt dust in the wind. So now if I lose, I think it's just paying my dues. I stay faithful, and I ain't got nothing to prove. Life is fate-filled. Each and every choice that I choose, I stay grateful. and humbly keep making my moves. Awake when I snooze. I'm organizing thoughts in my dreams, switching perspectives, because everything is not as it seems. It seems every bad thing is good in disguise. So stay patient. Don't hate or despise, despite what you may think. Away to this prove. Now lyrical's fatter than kids who rock their shirts in the pool. Play man, that's like 15 years old. I wrote that like 15 years ago.
15 years ago. The fact that you remember so much of your material, man,
everything
is, yeah, bro.
Dude,
I have a little
1989. 1989 wrote a rhyme for Apollo Computers. Apollo doesn't follow. We set the trend. I mean, it's like literally the whole. I can't get it out of my head if I wanted to. You know, wrote 1991. Wrote the political campaign rap for Nick Paleologos, who went on to start Mass Films. The company brought the films in Massachusetts. I can't. 1991. Nick Paleologos, just like Lotus. 1, 2, 3 reasons you'll notice. 1, it gets the job done. 2, education. 3, environmental legislation. Takes hard work to get things done. The house is now on TV, and he's the one reason why we accomplish this task. First in the nation to get the bill passed for the youth. He does care. Appointed the House chair of education, but he won't stop there because children are the future. So the man is concerned, making sure teachers teach so the children can learn. Bills got passed. He made things happen. He's for freedom of speech. So Excalibur's rapping. So when this day and age, freedom's the enemy. They were vexed, not the answer. Nick is the remedy. So if you want a friend, we owe this to each other. Nick Paleologos for Lieutenant Governor. Nick Paleologos. I mean, why do I have that in my head? It was 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? like why? So when people say, yo, yeah, you think you remember that rhyme you wrote from like 12 years ago? I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
Like, now here, I do have a glitch. I don't know about you guys. I have a glitch. Any rhyme that you ever see me having an issue with is because I changed the rhyme. So if I ever change the rhyme, if I write it onto the paper, it's like etched in my memory forever. But so are the mistakes. So if there was a part that I erased and went back, I glitch on that a lot. And sometimes it'll cause me to stumble on those things. And I try to repair the glitches, but it's those are the ones I tend not to do as much. So that I'll shy away from. But
that's why the writing is important, man. That's why it's so important.
Yeah, that's something about it.
It's not just like that for you. Yeah, it's not just like that for you. It's like that for everybody. It's to what degree are they aware? You know, like you said, number 1 is the intention. Number 2 is the awareness. If you're paying attention to what's going on before, during, and after, and as a result of whatever you thought was, you know, if you're paying attention, man, then you'll get the answers to so much more, you know, again, with the awareness. Russ said something about that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that was a powerful show, man. That was dope.
It was.
Yeah,
like I said, it was. He was my favorite guest, man. It was. I don't know. It's something about education. I'm an avid learner, so anytime people, I don't really like saying this because it kind of comes off a little arrogant, but
all right,
I'm not easily impressed. And so when people impress me,
I hate everything. I'm right with you.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I hate every rapper who raps. You're all whack. You're all whack. I mean, I have no problem saying it. No, it's self-included. You know.
Yeah, man. That's the truth, man. And so when people impress me, it's memorable. It's memorable though, man. When people can say things that impress me and that can introduce me to something that I hadn't been previous. Those things really stand out to me.
You got an open mind, bro. That's what it should be. Yo, we got a guest coming on next week, by the way. I need to tell people about, right? So he's a co-worker. His name is John Kirksey. All right. So he's a co-worker. He's Professor John Kirksey. All right. And John Kirksey has maybe the most interesting bio that you're ever going to hear. So he's a master bass guitar player. He's going to be playing live. So he's from DC. He's a master bass guitar. I mean, like crazy jazz bass guitar player, right?
Oh, wow.
Insane level, right? He's going to play live. He's going to have it hooked up and play live. When I first came to UDC and the very first professional development I did, I grabbed him and I said, bro, bring your bass guitar. He's like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, I want you to play live bass and I'm going to rap. So
Oh
we did it.
yeah.
The PD, yeah, we had like 15 people looking at me like, "What is he doing?" But I was like, "Hey, that's what we're doing." It's like, I'm the director of faculty development. Too late now, right? But no, anyways, it was really cool. So he did that, and he's also a world class skeet shooter and just like a trap shooter or whatever. He's like he's got a house full of trophies for like skeet shooting, right? So he's a shooter, which is crazy. And then on top of that, I haven't even dropped the final bomb. What he teaches, mortuary science. He's a mortician.
Whoa.
So did you put the shooting and the mortician together? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow.
it's like, yeah, bro. He's a mortician, professor, champion skeet shooter, like trap shooter, and an insane bass player.
That's
And
an
so
interesting.
We gotta get him
dynamic.
to we gotta get him to play gotta get some legendary bass lines.
Oh
That's-
yeah, just have him lined up, man. He's
Yeah, that's the joint right there. That's
Yeah.
where that's he shines. That's one of the areas where he really shines.
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. His bass lines, yeah, Jake. His bass lines be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a pairing. You know what I mean? So yeah, have him. He should come through, man. He should come through. Young Jay.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna take a lot of work.
Thank
Just
you.
gonna be honest. It's gonna take a lot of work.
Hey man, first of all, what y'all not gonna do is y'all can't do my boy like that, man. Let him
Absolutely,
make
we
it.
are.
Let my boy
No,
make it,
just
man.
being honest.
Yo, when he says
Gonna
hi
take
in
a lot.
public, I'll take that away. When he says hi in public in a public forum, I'll change my mind. But until that point, and I know you're watching this, Jay Brown. When you say hi in a public forum,
Absolutely.
I got your back. Until that time, I don't believe. I believe in you. I don't believe you're gonna ever say anything in public.
Yeah, let
No,
my boy
he'll-
make it, man.
He'll do it. He'll do it. All
He's a
right.
beast.
He'll do it.
He's a beast. Every time I listen to Bye Bye, I listen to the original, I listen to the remix, and I'm like, these are just both so dope. I just have a feeling he could just make 30 different versions and just not be happy with any of them. Like, he strikes me as that kind of personality. Like, this one could be better.
It could be better.
Yeah,
And then he'll come back with something better.
yeah, you'd be like, what'd you do in the first one? I just decided to go off into a virtual solo here. All right, cool. Roll with
Yep. That's it.
that. Aren't we all? a
Speaking
bit
of
like
which,
that?
man, he's working on something real dope. I'm super excited. Man.
Yo, a matter of fact, you know what I want to play? I want to play the instrumental to Bye Bye that you sent today, LD. I have to load it up to play that, but it's so cool. I don't know if you've actually sat around and listened to the instrumental. Y'all check out the instrumental to the Bye Bye Even More Live remix.
Bye bye.
Absolutely. I was in the house.
What you say?
Yeah, for sure. I was in the house, but yeah, for sure.
Oh man, yeah. I can't. Unfortunately, I can't play stuff super quick on this thing, but I'm not trying to hold y'all too long. That's how I kind of want to go out on that. Going out on Bye Bye, but we're gonna go out on the Bye Bye remix. I think we're going to, if I can make it work. Yeah, I see it. I see the original. Let's see if I see the do. It exists. I have found it.
Indeed,
All right.
that was the one.
There we go. All right. So I think I can play this now. Ready? We're gonna play the shout out to Jay Brown, legendary. We're gonna go with Bye Bye Even More Live remix. Here it is.
Flawless.
We're gonna end the show on this. We're just gonna zip on out of here. Anything else y'all want to say before we dip out? Or we're gonna let this run.
Yeah, no, man. Let it run.
What? Legendary.
Mm. Yeah.
Because you know a lot of people listening to the album, but they're kind of skimming through. They listen to the first few tracks. They might find their favorite track, but they ain't listening to track 15. But the real fans are. They listen to 15. If you listen to 15, this is what you're hearing. It's that legendary. Playing that bass, guitar, keyboard, laying them drums down.
I ain't heard nothing yet.
Bye bye.
I can't wait to rock this live, yo. This song right here. I want to have Legendary up on the keys playing this live. Maybe have John Kirksey come up and play some bass.
Oh yeah.
We've talked about rocking live with John Kirksey and I. Doing some stuff. Shout out to my man Andrew Howard, also a former UDC employee, professor on the guitar. Crazy skills. Yeah. This is where the money's made, right here.